All right. Hey, everybody. It's Jordan here from Smartphone, and I am delighted to welcome you all to this partner webinar where I'm joined by Greg from Abstrakt. Hugely topical subject right now and a relatively new integration we're super excited about. What we're going to do today is I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to be handing you over to Greg so we can talk a bit more about what they've done with Smartphone, how they've integrated, and how their customers are getting value and how they bring value to all sorts of parts of the process for the customers. Then we're going to kick into a live demo of some of the technology so you can see it. And then finally, we're going to open up into a bit of a Q&A at the end. So if there are any questions, you can ask both Greg and myself, although mainly Greg, because he knows he is the expert in this subject. So without further ado, I'm going to pass you over now to Greg. Greg, thank you for being here and give us a deep dive into Abstrakt.
Yeah, thank you for having us, Jordan. I really appreciate it. Smartphone is one of our newer integrations, but I do think that it's already quickly gaining in popularity and functionality, just due in large part to your kind of team's alignment on vision in terms of how technology should play together. So we're really excited to be able to work with you guys, and some of our earlier customers are already enjoying the benefits of using the two companies side by side. Quick backstory on Abstrakt, 4.5-year-old company, originally started with the goal of enabling B2B sales teams in real time. So my background was a very early adopter of a technology called Gong. And as a VP of sales, I was always frustrated with the reactive nature of always going back after the fact to find out what my team had done wrong. And so we wanted to change that and bring coaching live into the moment. That brought the product to market, had some early success, but what we were finding over and over again is our best customers were using words like compliance and decreasing QA to describe the value in the product. And so we really shifted towards more of a, in a lot of ways, we're a B2B company, but our customers are largely B2C now. And it's either a sales or support use case, but they're calling into heavily regulated industries, real estate, financial, insurance, things like that, where what you say actually does matter. And if you don't say things a certain way, it gets you in trouble. You lose your license, you lose your right to operate in a certain state, it opens you up to lawsuits, things like that. And so for our customers, from a sales standpoint, from a B2C standpoint, they're ensuring compliance through real-time prompting of agents, while also decreasing QA time after. And then from a support service perspective, we're decreasing average handle time, increasing first call resolution, basically impacting top and bottom line for our customers, which is kind of a fun place to be. So it's been a wild ride, and yeah, we'll kind of walk through a demo. And Jordan, I'm going to pick on you a little bit to do some role playing with me, if you don't mind, so everybody can see Abstrakt in action.
I am
Cool.
up for it.
All right. So there's two sides to Abstrakt. There is what we call an agent assist application, which sits over here. And then there's the web portal over here, just because we haven't come up with a better, fancier name for it. I'm going to minimize this just so we can focus on this for this part of the demo. And this entire real-time agent assist application is integrated through to smartphone. And the integration serves to automate the workflow for the agents using smartphone and Abstrakt side by side. Agents never have to touch it. So think of this as like Jarvis for Iron Man. Kind of there when you need it, off to the side, right in sidecar when you don't. There's a couple pieces that are influenced through the integration with smartphone. The first thing is going to be a playbook. So for our customers, we have a couple of mutual real estate customers. They're calling different homeowners to try to buy houses. And so depending upon the type of house that they're calling to buy, or maybe the state they're calling into, there might be a different playbook or a different script that needs to be followed. Well, this playbook is automatically launched based upon the information we receive from smartphone. So if I'm calling a homeowner in Indiana versus a homeowner in Ohio, I have different regulatory things that I have to say. And we don't want to leave the guesswork or kind of the finding of that script up to the agent. So when we receive that call start event through the integration with smartphone, Abstrakt automatically tells the agent which playbook to use and launches it for them. For our demo purposes, I kind of put some fun stuff in here, Jordan, that you can kind of role play with me with. But the ultimate goal here is phone call starts and Abstrakt automatically launches. So agents are not actually even hitting that launch button. We just have that there for demo purposes. When Abstrakt is launched, it begins listening to both sides of the conversation. Again, it's presented me with a playbook that I'm supposed to use, and I kind of put some fun stuff in here again for our demo. And then Jordan, it's going to be listening to you down here to trigger things for me to say based upon what you ask me, or any objections or questions or things you need help with, stuff like that. So that's always kind of the fun thing to start with, is kind of triggering a recommended response or two. So Jordan, why don't you ask me, like, hey Greg, how does Abstrakt integrate with smartphone?
Hey, Greg, does Abstrakt integrate with smartphone?
And there we go. There's that recommended response. And so Abstrakt heard Jordan ask me, hey, does Abstrakt integrate with smartphone? And it popped up that recommended response for me to use. So our customers will use this to trigger objection handling techniques if it's a sales use case, or if it's a support use case, helping that support agent find that answer to that question to get that customer taken care of faster. Okay. Jordan, I'm going to ask you a couple of these questions and just kind of give me some answers along the way, just so folks can kind of see how this works. Sound good?
Sure.
How are you currently handling call coaching for your reps at smartphone?
Currently, we listen to calls every week that are recorded.
Cool. And what phone system or contact center platform are you using today?
I don't really want to name our competitors, but hey, in a webinar, but let's say a mediocre one at best.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So as I'm going through my playbook, Abstrakt is listening to me, and based upon me saying the things I'm supposed to say, it's moving them off the screen. One of the questions we commonly get asked is, does it have to be exact match, or can we kind of listen for a relatively accurate type of match? And so what we've done is we've gone towards a relative accuracy score, and we listened for essentially a 67% match. We found that's a nice sweet spot for what we're supposed to be listening for, allowing reps to kind of say things how they want, while also kind of keeping some guardrails in place. I'm going to end the call just so we can kind of look like what this looks like from a reporting perspective, missing a couple of these things after. What happens is when the phone call ends in smartphone, Abstrakt automatically closes down. So again, agents are not actually clicking this end call button. Abstrakt is handling all of that for them. And I'm going to move this over and then bring back this. And because we process data in real time, one of the benefits to our solution is customers have access to the call data seconds after it's over. And so there's no more waiting for a call recording to be available or transcript to be available after a call is over, because we're processing that data in real time. Couple things here. We do real-time PCI, PHI, and PI masking. And so anytime it looks like it's picking up the word one here, that's fun. And perfect. Okay, that's a good demo. So we are in our demo environment, we do mask any words written as numerical, just for demo purposes. And it looks like every time 10, 1, working perfectly. So transcription masking is done in real time. Audio masking takes a couple minutes to reprocess to make sure that the corresponding audio timestamps line up with what's supposed to be masked in the transcript. But ultimately, again, it's available right after. So if you need to coach somebody or something happens on a call and the supervisor needs to be notified of it seconds after the call is over, Abstrakt will allow managers, supervisors, even agents to kind of go back and figure out what went wrong or what they could have done better. This becomes the number I care about. Of what I was supposed to do on this call, Jordan, I only did 50% of my playbook. I can jump to those playbook points. mediocre at best. Here's the things that I skipped that I was supposed to do on this call. And I'm going to move my Zoom window a little bit. And then over here is a sentiment summary. So this does run in batches in production. So I'll just go ahead and trigger this to run automatically now. And this will pull out a sentiment of the call as well as a 3 bullet point summary of the call. Take a look at that, Jordan. Let me know what you think.
Okay. That's pretty good. Wow.
Not too shabby.
Yeah. I mean, I resent being called neutral, but you know.
Well,
Basic, it could have said.
basic, fair enough. But ultimately, the namesake of our company, for anybody who's maybe spent some time, any type of science studies, an abstract is the summary of a scientific paper. And we've always believed that sales and support is part art, part science. And so we wanted to come up with a name that not only kind of encompassed what our customers were having kind of success doing every day, which is interactions with other people, but also providing an easy way to pull out what you wanted from a call without having to listen to an entire phone call. And so really everything you need is available to you at your fingertips within this call scorecard view. Okay. At a high level, kind of looking holistically across, let's go last 30 days. We might start looking at compliance, playbook completion percentages. We start looking at soft skills. Who are my agents that are more patient than others? Who's interrupting folks the most often? Who's talking fast, right? These things often get overlooked when we start thinking about compliance and conversion rates and average handle time. All these things still do matter, especially if you're in an industry that requires a human to be on the phone. There's a lot of industries that are trying to move to a full IVA, IVR setup using AI to automate phone conversations. But there's entire industries where that's not going to happen for the very foreseeable future. And so soft skills do matter still. And so we start looking at that. Some of the cool stuff we're doing with smartphone that not a lot of our other integrations allow us to do, one of which would be pulling in the disposition from the call. So not a lot of dialers out there allow our customers to pull in the outcome of the call to really start to match up to, hey, for every time this happens, this is what good looks like. So every time we successfully resolve a customer complaint, here's what the best agents are doing in terms of how they're handling questions. How much of the playbook are they following? What are their soft skills? Are they actively listening or interrupting folks? So that's pretty cool that smartphone allows us to do that. The other piece that smartphone allows us to do that not a lot of systems do is playbook mapping. So going back to that first part of the demo where we talked about launching a playbook based upon the information we receive from the phone system, the integration with smartphone allows us to pull in the fields from Salesforce to say, hey, if this is a contact status of like callback or ask for a callback in 6 months or a lead stage of 2 or 3, whatever that is, we pull those fields in as part of that webhook payload to start the call and automatically launch that playbook based upon the information we receive from smartphone. So again, we're kind of automating that, the start of it, what's happening in the middle of it. And then we have a couple customers with smartphone right now where we're actually automating the delivery of the call summary to the logged call note inside of Salesforce. And so really kind of decreasing that after call wrap up time for agents and removing a lot of subjectivity or bias from some of those call notes that tends to make their way into Salesforce as well. So trying to help agents while they're on the call, making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. I'm giving QA supervisors folks immediate insight into what could have gone wrong, what needs immediate improvement, and then automating the after call work that typically takes a couple minutes. And there's error-prone stuff that happens when we start typing notes into Salesforce, stuff like that, and automating that piece as well. So pause there, Jordan. Questions?
Wow, so many. I'm going to start the ball with questions of this and some, I guess general observations as well. We have mutual customers right now. I know, and most of them are in the real estate side of things. And so when you are talking about this playbook, the ability to automatically match playbooks, to me, that's one of the most important parts of this, in that you want to take the guesswork out of the agent's hands and give them the best chance of success with the least amount of effort. And this strikes me as a huge part of that. So let me ask, when you're talking about a playbook in this sense, I'm imagining from real estate, one playbook could be the type of lead it is. Is it a probate lead, or where they have different needs, and you want to make sure that the agent addresses those needs on the calls. So, what is the process like of setting up that playbook structure and match? Is it a super complex thing that is very difficult to learn, or is it something that is, once they start going, it's relatively easy, or that you can even do in front of me on a demo, which strikes me as even easier?
Home buyers, company. Am I speaking with the property owner? And I'm kind of, for demo purposes,
Yeah.
gonna use some merge fields here. But ultimately, building out a playbook is as simple as typing it in, copy and pasting from your current script, or we can help with this as part of implementation. Um, Done this a few amount of times now, so we have templates for most things that if our customers need some like inspiration, um, they can use those. Are you looking to sell this house soon? Maybe not a great question for a foreclosed property playbook. How past due are you on the property? Let me edit
And
that. That
and
was
let me just ask then, Greg, because this is a perfect example. So in this scenario where it is seems to me incredibly easy to create these prompts or these listening cues, um, are these if in the first one my name is whatever, I'm assuming with your 67% ratio of matching, if I went and said it's Jordan with home buyers instead of my name is, that's going to match that 67. And so the agent has that flexibility to know they've got to identify themselves. Um,
bingo.
Now, one question I have, sorry, to follow up on that, and because you mentioned earlier the idea of the regulated industries, so in this case, oftentimes you're required by a number of different parties, whether it's the carriers or FCC or any of these other kind of uh, other parties. You're required to actually identify home buyers company, for instance, or home buyers Inc. Right? So in this case, where they say my name is Jordan, but they don't identify the company, is that something that Abstrakt would pick up, or would, because that's a real compliance area.
Yeah, 100%. So, what we've what our customers wrestle with, and kind of we help them through as part of implementation, is what's put in front of an agent is the stuff that'll get you sued for not doing or not saying. That's ultimately what we kind of want our customers to have as part of a playbook, right? Transitionary statements, rapport building, those are the types of things you don't put in a playbook. But my name is Jordan with Home Buyers Company. Am I speaking to property owner at 123 Acme Boulevard, right? Those are the types of things that do matter. And so that's what you would put into that playbook. And having done this now for 4.5 years, we've found that, and I don't know how like 67% became the number, but it's the perfect balance between how much flexibility do I have, but also how much handcuffs do I want to put on this?
How the guardrails have to be strong enough and high enough, but you need to be able to bounce a little, or you've got agents that sound like robots, and there's not a person alive who can't tell when someone's reading a script right on the
Bingo.
phone. It is so clearly obvious and off-putting.
Yep.
So making a new playbook is as simple literally as, you've just created a small playbook here. Um, and
Playbook,
and
map it to whatever field you want. Foreclosure, where is it? Foreclosed properties. And then check this out. So it would be available to use seconds after you created it.
yeah. So it's that quick and that easy. And that means that then as a continuous process, one of the things we teach at Smartphone when I speak to customers all the time about how they can best use the system to train their agents, how they can best, empower their agents to do, a better job, how they can make sure they're doing quality control on a regular basis to identify, as you said earlier, what does good actually look like. One of the things I love about this and how simple it is to adjust a playbook is you can also quality control isn't just about is my agent good doing a good job or not or it's not just that, it's also is my process right, do I need, and if we take this from a compliance more to a sales process for a moment, with a combo of being able to easily identify the good conversations, the good sentiments, the good conversations where they've done a good job based on potential dispositions, you can then also look at, do I need to tweak my sales playbooks to refine better? And it seems like with Abstrakt, that's something that can be done incredibly easy, and the fixes to the playbooks can be done in minutes, not hours. It can be done by
Oh,
almost
yeah.
anybody in minutes.
That's so we intentionally use the word configurable, Jordan, as opposed to customizable, because we wanted something that our customers, if like they realized a new competitor came out and they needed to update a playbook, they didn't need to wait for a training for a rep training a week from today. They needed to go in and make that talk track change immediately. Or the new some of the FCC stuff that changed a couple weeks ago,
I
right?
was going to say
Maybe
FCC stuff, it comes out and you got to go.
you got to go. And so you need to make that change in your playbook, and being able to quickly get that deployed and not having to wait for IT to make a change or submit a support ticket to us. We're happy to help with it. But ultimately, our goal is to quote unquote teach you to fish so that you can be self-sufficient on your own and make these changes. And um, it's always interesting because Abstrakt is a mirror that a lot of folks either love looking into after implementation or they don't like looking into after implementation. It's great when it's like, oh, we validated everything that we thought was happening. Or they're like, oh crap, um, nothing that we thought was happening is actually happening. And so it becomes a catalyst for change, but we want that change either way to be able to be something that can be done quickly for our customers.
And another thing I'm really excited about with this integration is, as if I take some of the heavier sales based sectors that we're in, and real estate's a great example. Um, if you can close two more deals in a month, from a benefit to your company point of view, like if I speak to a wholesaler who maybe averages $20,000 in terms of their assignment fee per property, closing two more, it could be upwards of $40,000 to $50,000 extra lift a month. And when you talk about being able to review your performance, review, as we've got here on your screen, this ability to dive into who's performing, who's not performing, what does good look like, what does bad look like, where am I going with my different agents. So many people I have noticed over the years, they will blame almost anything, and but they will not then take the effort to actually dive into what the true problems are. This kind of gives you on a plate a lot of really critical information around your outbound sales process, which, by reviewing this on a weekly basis, your chances of an uplift of an extra deal or two a month are really high.
Yeah. Um, and so we talk about sales and a lot of our customers, Jordan, are selling into regulated environments. And so, we have a couple customers in like deregulated energy space. And so we've seen the increase in the sales conversions, but the other kind of downstream benefit of that is the sales weren't being kicked back by the energy supplier because all the sales that were being submitted were now compliant and they weren't pushy, kind of like hard sales. All the information was accurately given to the consumer. And so it's stickiness of the sale after the fact as well. A lot of our customers look at Abstrakt not kind of on the P&L. It's not necessarily a line item that gets put into like a sales budget, but more it's like an operational insurance policy. Where yes, we're seeing top line benefit from it, but we're also mitigating our risk of being sued or mitigating our risk of sales falling through because we didn't do something right. And so it's an interesting thing we've kind of watched how our customers describe where Abstrakt fits in their kind of from their perspective on the P&L, which has been fascinating to kind of observe.
And I mean, from our perspective, working with you guys to connect, if when a customer goes ahead and signs up and creates account with you and gets rolling with you, to connect the smartphone ecosystem with you guys is super simple.
The
And
toggle.
it's a toggle. Yeah, exactly. It's that simple, and that means that they can get started with this really unbelievably easily. Can you just walk us through I noticed in the Q&A so someone said, okay, I'm sold, where do I sign up? But to walk us through a little, a new customer, how quick do they go from, man, I'm excited with this, to I've now got this off the ground?
So smartphone, the integration takes 7 seconds, maybe. I don't know how fast you can log in and flip a switch. So that's probably the fastest part. We always target 4 weeks for implementation. We say 4 weeks because we can move faster than our customers, and that's often the case where technology is ready to go. You sign up today, we'll provision an account, hook it up to smartphone, and you're there in an hour. It becomes a process of, do we have the playbooks? Do you have those things ready? Do you have your recommended responses? Are you okay with what might come out of this? And that's often like a lot of folks think about rolling this out to their agents and the process for that. So a lot of the technology issues are related, or the implementation issues are related to just we tend to change some thought processes and impact some strategies as part of implementation. Those are the delays usually.
Well, and also, as you say, it's almost a mindset shift that you have to go through. I've noticed this in a lot of sectors where um people think they've a lot of times people think they've got everything all kind of mapped out until you start asking them for the maps. and then
Mhm.
and then suddenly it's like, ah, well, we not that one. Not that one. No, and you end up doing that. I used to do a lot of work with property management, and you'd be like, we've got everything mapped out, and then a week later you're going, so we have to build from scratch, yes. So there's a mindset shift when you come to this, but also I think it's to your point of the balance between compliance and sales uplift. I think there's a mindset as you build a very professional organization and you're trying to, to scale, if you're scaling a sales business that's very focused on the phone, then you have, this is a tool that is one of those building blocks, and you have to see it like that. It's not a panacea of a problem, or a golden key of a sales solution. What it is it's a foundational tool to make you a better performing business as a whole, in my view. Does that kind of feel more right?
Yeah, I mean it's it goes back to just like some folks like what they see after they go live, and some folks don't like what they see. And if you go into this knowing like there's going to be, I don't want to say pain, but there's going to be some tension and friction associated with rolling this out. If you know that going into it, like you're going to be better off. If you think this is going to be I flip the switch and turn this on and it fixes all my problems, like it's not going to work, um, because you haven't come to terms with the fact that you're going to face some friction along the way, um, and so yeah, it really just becomes like the Salesforce thing, right? We get into playbook mapping conversations and we're like, hold on, Jordan, you don't have lead stages for your leads that you're calling. Every single lead's in the same lead stage. Or hold on, like you don't have different customer types or customers don't have different products associated to them. Like we can't even talk about playbook mapping yet because you don't even have the building blocks to use these features yet. And so again, it's kind of fun because it becomes a catalyst for some of that change within within our customers. But once it's all baked out and ready to go, it kicks ass. Like it kicks ass, and it's fun to watch.
I think it's fantastic. Last question before I open it up to anybody from the webinar. It's funny when we talk about some of these sort of the onboarding process of any new technology into a team is gonna create friction. Like there's no possibility for that not to happen. Whether it's in fact whether it's changing a phone system into smartphone, or whether it's changing your CRM or bringing in another tool, you're going to create friction. Have you found, or what is the friction level like? Do you find in two ways? One, from a management perspective, what is the friction like about getting Abstract up and running, and also from an agent point of view, what is the overall friction like in your experience?
This is it's a fun question. Um, so manager, kind of like a frontline manager, maybe someone who's in the trenches every day with like a team of 8 to 10 reps. If they're doing their job really well, they love Abstract. If they're not doing their job really well, there's every excuse in the book as to why it's not working. Um, and it's and we can sit there and say, well, technology didn't wake up today and decide to not work. It was working yesterday, so it's like it's working today. Um, so that's always a fun kind of thing. From an agent perspective, almost the same thing is true. For agents who want to do better and are good with following along with best practice and want to see, hey, Joe over here is our top agent because of this, this, and this. I just want to be like Joe so I can make more money. Like they get on board with it. It's the folks who are slamming stuff through the phone, not treating customers well, that always seem to have the technical issues with Abstract not working. And for the first couple of years, we kind of were like, this is interesting. But now there's definitely a causation. It's moved beyond correlation. And so again, it's a mirror that folks either like looking into or don't. And we see the same type of thing happen from a ops VP level down to a frontline manager level, all the way down to an agent level. Like if you're doing your job, Abstract is like, here, look how awesome I am. If you're doing a crappy job, Abstract is like, oh crap, I should probably go look for another job.
A mirror, mirror on the wall. Am I the prettiest of them all? No. Ah, shit.
No.
That's not what I want to hear at all.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
I don't
no,
like that. Go away. Take that mirror away.
yeah, I think there's Shrek 6 that's going to be in
Yes.
there. Oh, it's just sponsored Shrek 6, sponsored by Abstract. Well, listen, I mean, I think this is fantastic. It's been a really, I'll also say, uh, it's been a tremendous amount of fun doing this integration with you guys. Before I open up the questions, I'll just a little shout out to you, your team. It's been a really great team to work with, really engaged and really fun. And it's been a joy for our team to work with you guys. And that's an extra special bit as well, because we know that this, working with you guys, we've got a team that we can continue to build and make this integration even better and bring even more value to our customers. And so we're all across the company. We're very excited about that as well.
Yeah, appreciate it. The same. I mean, we've been asking integration partners to do some of the stuff with Salesforce that you guys jumped on board with instantly. And so it's always nice to work with forward-facing companies who place kind of customer experience at the forefront of everything they do. And so I echo that sentiment, and it's been nice working with you guys, and excited to get some more customers together.
Well, it looks like you're going to get some from this webinar, since those most of the questions are, can we sign up? But let's jump over to the questions. And anybody, if they have questions, Ellen, do we have questions or?
We do. And actually, would you mind closing the screen share so we can see
Yeah,
your
of course.
faces big and large? Well, really, so you already sort of answered the part about onboarding, but quite literally, how does someone sign up? Where do they go?
Yeah, so what we can do is either submit a demo request on our website. We have a contact us form, or if they want to drop their information into the Q&A, we can have someone reach out to them. Typically, we want just a quick 30-minute call just to make sure we understand exactly what we're trying to accomplish, and then simple as a quick order form.
All right, awesome. And then there was another question about what happens if somebody doesn't answer a call? How does Abstrakt help, or can they assist at all in that situation?
So we have some customers that are asking for kind of text message, email, stuff like that. We're not there yet. We're focused strictly on the phone call today. So if the phone call does not get answered, essentially a smartphone sends us an event when the phone call either gets disconnected or the agent hangs up and Abstrakt shuts down. And so what will happen is, in those cases, our customers can choose to just suppress that call from any reports or views, so it doesn't conflict or kind of cause any bias against the reporting. But yeah, it's strictly for phone calls today.
Well, and that, I mean, quite honestly, to wade in there to that question, there are there are potential consent worries around an automated text message if someone doesn't answer. There are very specific consent guidelines for when you can send someone a text message. And if they haven't explicitly opted into receiving those, just because they haven't answered their phone doesn't mean there's no implied consent there. So there'd be some things you'd have to very, very carefully look at before you automate text messages anyway. I'm talking to the whoever asked that as just in general from a text message point of view, because you don't want to risk being flagged as a non-compliant texting business.
Yeah, the risk is not worth the reward on that.
No. What was? Oh.
I just noticed that the chat is not working. I must have hit the setting wrong, so the chat's not working for attendees. But you can raise your hand and we can pop you on live, or go ahead and hit that Q&A button down at the bottom, and you can add your questions there. Although it's quite thorough, I'm not surprised that there aren't too many questions. It's really straightforward. Seems extremely user friendly, easy to sign up. Did you want to talk at all about pricing? I know it's not always the best question for this for a live thing, and certainly when you are doing your assessment and you're meeting with someone, pricing, but maybe a range. I think one of the things that we loved about you so much and we thought was such a good match is that it really lines up well with smartphone clients and our client base.
Yeah. So pricing is strictly driven by user licenses. So folks that are actually using the real-time agent assist application, we don't charge for like supervisors, QAs, admins, things like that. It is the full product. We do not charge for like piecing out different parts of the product. And pricing ranges anywhere from $25 a user up to $100 per user based upon the number of agents. So as the number of agents goes up, pricing goes down. So we think it's reasonably a fair price.
Yeah, and I will say that one of the reasons why some of our integrations historically in this type of integration has failed is that the pricing was out of whack with the normal with every type of business model that we work with. And we are and we're particularly excited to work with you guys because you have a sensible price range that is going to add value to any business of any size. And that's huge, because it's very difficult to, people have to be able to get into this to see how amazing it is. And if the barriers of entries have always been so high, whereas for you guys, you can demonstrate that value very, very quickly at an entry point that is totally palatable.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's again, that goes back to like configuration, right? I want somebody able to see value in a couple days. Flip the switch in smartphone, configure a playbook, configure a couple recommended responses. You're off and running to the races. So it's, you know, that's that was kind of one of our core beliefs is get out there and get live right away. I don't want somebody taking 6 months to get value from the product.
Well, and just how easy it is. I think I saw that Justin had a question. But just how easy it is to configure those playbooks excites me as well, because so often when you talk about any sort of system that has the words or the letters A and I in them, you know, which is now, it seems like everything. I'm surprised my fridge doesn't talk to me
Have
more.
AI, yeah.
Sooner or later it will. But anytime you have that, you know, it suddenly brings up the concern that there's going to be an enormous amount of training that I have to do, or you know, to really get benefit. But the fact that you've got that you found that sweet spot of the 67% match, and it's very easy to create these different playbooks and launch them accurately. That's like 98% of the game. That's super easy, as opposed to a lot of systems where your barrier to entry isn't just cost. It's like, welcome to the 8-week course you're going to have to take on artificial intelligence. And that's really exciting. Justin's asked, or are we bringing him on? I don't want to.
No, go ahead and read it.
Justin's asks, can you use this to track how well my sales guys are following the scripts and not missing key parts of the scripts? And at scale, this will help speed up training new sales guys and making change. Yeah. I mean,
Yes. Yes. Yeah, so I mean that's, and you can get so real-time reporting on, you can drill down like what part of it was missed, what was said, what wasn't said. One of the case studies we have on our website, I think we shaved 67% off ramp time for one of our customers, took their ramp from 6 months down to 2 months. And so like, yeah, ramping, but then once you pass ramp, you know, making sure just ongoing that level. And like, you know, I was like the Tony Stark Jarvis thing, right? Like Tony Stark's a badass. Sometimes he needs Jarvis to help him out. And so even those seasoned reps, you know, just make sure they're always doing exactly what they're supposed to do, keep them what they're doing.
when you've got what I've found as well with reps, you've obviously got your top end that they're killing it. They're crushing it, and they're just going to keep crushing it. And there you go. You can forget about them because they're going to crush it. Just keep them. You've got your bottom end, you know, that kind of 20%, 20% on either side. 20% are great. You don't have to worry about them. 20% are shit. They're never going to be getting good. So don't worry about them either. But in the middle is that 60% who not only could go either way, but they also haven't yet become that part of the 20 that's always great. And so they could slip in their habits. And, you know, once you've gone past the I'm a new agent, a lot of times people get lazy or they get complacent about how they go about it. And what I love about this tool is it's never complacent, and it's always going to be making sure that not only does it prompt, but it also makes sure, you know, hey, this guy is starting to tailor off a little. And that's a super important thing when you're dealing with that mushy middle part of your agents who aren't on either extreme.
Yeah, I like that mushy middle. I think you should coin that term, Jordan. Mushy middle.
I shall.
Good.
So I had a question. You talked about, you know, approximately about 4 weeks. It's configuration, not customization. Who, when you think about who you want to work with in your client teams, like what's sort of the best mix? Is it an operations person? Is it a head salesperson? Like who do you see the most success with?
Yeah, definitely. We try to pull in ops. Sometimes that encompasses QA or quality assurance. Sometimes they're two different people. And then some type of like enablement or training, depending upon the size of the org, that might also be the sales leader as well. So as you kind of get into bigger orgs, right, you see like sales enablement training become kind of somewhat different. What the one issue we run into if we're strictly just working with a sales leader and we're not pulling in ops or QA or train enablement is you get a very biased perspective because you're not, they often skip over, okay, well, I don't like saying this is my sales pitch, but sometimes I need to be compliant. And my hope is that these just get forgotten about or ignored so I can hit my number. We've seen that. And so we always try to pull in, you know, you got your top of funnel focus over here, then you need your kind of, you know, yin and yang of the conversation. So we just try to, when possible, depending on again the size of the org, we try to pull in kind of both sides of that. Same thing on a support and service side too, balancing SLA against like workforce management, the size of the team and KPIs that are reported up to VP C levels, right? You want that kind of frontline service manager while also having like a QA person on the back end. So it's always a balance.
That totally makes sense. Do we have any more questions, Ellen? I
I
only have
don't
one
know.
question, which is, Claire, are we 100% sure that that dog is real? Because this is the second time we've been on a video call together, and I'm
It's
pretty
real.
sure that that dog was in the exact same position last time.
No, this is her, it's her bed. It just, you know, I'm in here. This is her room.
This is her
Because
room.
I
Claire just lives in
genuinely
it.
think last
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
like, I think I
This
could
is
probably do a screen share.
every day. Every day. It's a great conversation starter, I'll tell you that.
Well, listen, I want to thank everybody to join us today. Particularly, I want to thank you, Greg, and Claire and Ellen for coming on with me. I'm super, you know, the whole company is super excited about this integration. I do encourage you guys to check it out. It is an incredibly powerful tool. It's super simple to implement, and it's also something you can get up and running with, you know, and get the benefit out of not only quickly but in a cost-effective manner. And if you know, if you're using smartphone and you love the deep integration with your CRM, then you're going to love the ability to get this type of reporting and to make sure that your agents have a real-time guide. Both of those things are going to give huge value. So do please hop on to their website and follow up after this webinar. I think it is going to add a huge value to your company.
Thank you, Jordan.
Right.
Appreciate the opportunity to join you, and hope everybody enjoyed this. And Alan, Claire, thanks for setting this up.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody.